Coming up on the Beaver News, a fatal shooting at Shari's and suspects plead not guilty. Also, what changes did President Ed Reid make to tackle social injustice? And a campus-wide ban on hoverboards. What do you think? All that and more on tonight's episode of the Beaver News.
Hello and welcome to the Beaver News. I'm Kiana Hatch.
And I'm EJ Alba. Thank you for joining us this evening.
In our top story, the suspects behind the homicide near Shari's restaurant on 9th Street last Friday night were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Jason S. Williams was gunned down outside the restaurant. Corvallis police put out a press release Monday evening identifying 43-year-old Michael A. Dayette II as the shooter. 35-year-old Brooklyn F. Shepard was arrested for one count of murder under an aiding and abetting theory. She was reportedly present at the scene of the crime and was injured during the incident. Afterwards, she went to the hospital where she was treated and released. According to police, Dayette and Shepard were a couple, and there may have been a relationship between the two and Williams. Balloons and flowers are now displayed in the parking lot to remember the victim.
Big changes in leadership are coming this February. President Ed Reid outlined his plans for increased inclusivity and social justice on campus Tuesday morning in a campus-wide email. One of the most drastic new changes, required online diversity orientation programs starting fall 2016 for all new OSU students. A new Office of Equal Opportunity and Access will be created with Chief Compliance Officer Clay Simmons as Interim Executive Director.
President Reid's email stated that he is seeking to make diversity central to universities' hiring practices. In addition to this, OSU faculty and staff have also been encouraged to consider diversity training. The Beaver News team had a chance to sit down with Mr. Simmons about these changes.
The university does not generally mandate things like that for the faculty because they also have a say in how the university is governed. So, I, for one, am pretty sure, though, that our faculty is very concerned about the issue and will take the appropriate steps.
These changes come after the November student-led Speak Out event where students shared stories and voiced concerns over increasing racial prejudice on campus. Racially charged comments made in the community chat box of the event's official live stream angered and upset student speakers that were there.
I think it really touched a lot of us in leadership that some of our minority students felt the way that they expressed during that Speak Out, and really indicated that we needed to do more and make some changes.
President Ed Reid stated, quote, "Please join me in this full commitment for social justice. Trust that you can count on me. You have my word."
Coming up after the break, find out the concerns OSU has about those hoverboards. Also, the Beaver News hit the quad despite the pouring down rain. All that and more when we return.
Hi, my name is TXT.
Eddie Cardenas, Mason Love,
Alex Vickery-Holland,
Laura Gordon, Lisa Rosenthal. We're here to answer any questions, escort students around.
we really just give them the sense of tradition. We help them register for classes.
A big part of being a START leader is showing students around OSU and helping them get a feel for what it's like when they're here at Oregon State.
We serve to help them make a more smooth and positive transition from high school life to college life and to everything involved with it.
Welcome back to the Beaver News. One of the coolest new forms of transportation may have to stay at home here in Corvallis. New policies have been put into place banning hoverboards from all dorms and dining halls.
The boards have not been banned throughout all of campus, but university officials are considering further restrictions. OSU is one of many campuses around the nation implementing these new rules, citing safety concerns.
I think they're safe if you're coordinated. I mean, like, they kind of accelerate pretty quickly and decelerate pretty quickly, so if you're not used to it, then you're going to fall. I don't exactly know all of the laws, but if they're liable if you fall and get hit by something, then it's probably worth it for them to ban them. I think if they become less dangerous, they'll become more popular. Like, if they don't catch your house on fire as much, then they'll be better. And if they can, like, reliably not fall, or people not fall in public.
The Corvallis Fire Department urges you to not leave your hoverboard unattended, as there have been fire issues with the lithium-ion batteries inside them. I know I'll be leaving my hoverboard at home alone.
Well, I don't even have one, so I guess I'm safe.
Oh, perfect.
Now that winter term is in full swing, we wanted to see what Beaver Nation likes to do in their free time. So we sent out Polly Lisa check to find out just what happens when the rain hits Corvallis.
But I am freezing. How do you feel out in this winter term weather?
Yeah, it's definitely cold. It says it's 46 degrees, but I think it's a lie.
So it was a 97% chance of rain all day today. What were the chances of you getting out of bed and getting your butt over here on campus?
Pretty high. I mean, we do live in Oregon, and though this is the first winter in the last 3 years that has been actually rainy, it is just a trick of the trade, and at least it's not windy.
Casey, now that winter term has started, can you tell us what's your favorite part about it? Maybe your favorite class?
My favorite class right now is choir, and it's always really been my favorite class.
Do you have a favorite extracurricular that you do here on campus?
Yeah, so I'm actually editor-in-chief of Beaver's Digest magazine. Like, don't forget the Mexican spices.
I won't forget now.
Yeah, it's a student lifestyle magazine that comes out 3 times a year, so every term, at the end of every term.
So Dalton, can you tell me maybe about your most new friendship?
Yeah, so I picked him up along the way. I saw him hanging out by that tree over there, and I thought he would enjoy some company, so I picked him up and started dragging him along.
Coral, can you tell us what you're doing out here on this rainy day, being a savage?
Thanks, first of all. So I'm in Kappa Sigma. Our philanthropy is the Military Heroes campaign. We're here raising money for that. We're not selling hot chocolate. We're giving it away for free as for fun on Tuesdays now. There it is right there. Nice cameraman view. If you want to try that real quick, I'll hold this.
Oh.
I actually made this myself.
Oh, did you want me to burn my throat?
No.
Are you going to give him any more attention? I mean, before you just drop him off at a new home?
I'm thinking of naming him on the way. Do you have any recommendations?
Holy moly. Maybe Kojak. From songs about chili to giving out hot chocolate in the quad and to making friends that aren't even human. The rain obviously does not stop Beaver Nation from thriving. I'm Polly Lisa. I don't know what I was CNN. This is not CNN. This is more serious than that. You rock. Yeah. And that's all, folks.
I guess you could say that kid really branched out, right? He's really sticking to it.
Right. Well, that's all the time we have for you today. For more Beaver news, make sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and watch us on YouTube. We'll see you next time.
Love. Alex Vickery Holland.
Lisa Rosenthal. We're here to answer any questions, escort students around.
We really just give them this sense of tradition. We help them register for classes.
A big part of being a START leader is showing students around OSU and helping them get a feel for what it's like when they're here at Oregon State.
We serve to help them make a more smooth and positive transition from high school life to college life and to everything involved with it.
We tell the stories of the exceptional students and staff who attend the university, who work here, and who play here.
We have the barometer where you can write stories for them, become a journalist. We have Beaver News. We have all kinds of different shows for TV.
We're so willing to talk to anybody that is interested in becoming involved with student media. So if you're on the fence thinking, I don't know if I can do this, the answer is yes, you can. Get over here and talk to us.
Hi, my name's TXT.
Love. Alex Vickery Holland.
Lisa Rosenthal. We're here to answer any questions, escort students around.
We really just give them this sense of tradition. We help them register for classes.
A big part of being a START leader is showing students around OSU and helping them get a feel for what it's like when they're here at Oregon State.
We serve to help them make a more smooth and positive transition from high school life to college life and to everything involved with it. Lisa Rosenthal. We're here to answer any questions, escort students around.
We really just give them this sense of tradition. We help them register for classes.
A big part of being a START leader is showing students around OSU and helping them get a feel for what it's like when they're here at Oregon State.
We serve to help them make a more smooth and positive transition from high school life to college life and to everything involved with it. T.
Jason Love. Alex Vickery-Holland.
Laura Gordon. Lisa Rosenthal. We're here to answer any questions, escort students around.
We really just give them the sense of tradition. We help them register for classes.
A big part of being a START leader is showing students around OSU and helping them get a feel for what it's like when they're here at Oregon State.
We serve to help them make a more smooth and positive transition from high school life to college life and to everything involved with it.
And welcome back, Beaver Nation, to another episode of the Beaver Sports Show. I'm your host, Logan McGinnis.
And I'm your host, Jake McGrady. Hope you all had a good winter break and hope you're all ready for another season of the Beaver Sports Show. Pretty much back and better than ever. So.
Oh, we're back and better. You know, we missed a lot of crazy sports action in our absence here, so we have a lot to talk about.
So there's plenty to talk about, but first let's get into it with some Oregon State football. Switching things up with a brand new defensive coordinator hire in Kevin Clune.
Yep, our old defensive coordinator, Kalani Sitake, bolted to BYU for their head coach vacancy.
Yeah.
So, you know, and Sitake, he's a graduate of BYU, so it was natural.
Saw it coming. So here is a quick clip of the Kevin Clune press conference with OSU just a few weeks ago.
I grew up in California, and I grew up watching the Pac-10, the Pac-12, and I'm so fired up to get this opportunity. Just, again, being back, I'm interested to see everything that Oregon's got to have for me here. I can't wait to get back to the beach. I heard the water temperature is like 48 degrees. So. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited for a new adventure. I'm excited for the new challenges that are here. Definitely looking forward to looking at the things that were going on here last year, looking at the things from Wisconsin, showing them the things that we've done at Utah State and Hawaii, and then getting back on the same page. Okay, this is going to be the vision of our Oregon State defense.
And yeah, great stuff there by Clune. This was ultimately a safe hire for OSU. Gary Anderson and Clune go all the way back to their days at Utah State. So this will be easy transition for the coaches and the student athletes.
And to wrap things up, I think Clune will sort of implement a fresh perspective on what Sitake was building with this young team. So pretty much just looking forward to the future of the team as always, moving on from Clune.
Yeah. So all right. So let's talk about Oregon State basketball.
As we should.
We're in the heart of the Pac-12 season right now, and there's been some ups and downs. Jake, what have you kind of seen?
Ups and downs indeed. Right now we're experiencing more conference losses than I think the team would hope and expect, but we did have an absolutely amazing performance in the Civil War game earlier this month, completely and utterly dominating the Ducks. So.
Yeah, that was some crazy weather we had earlier too, but it was great. It was great to see the Beaver Nation still come out and almost have a sellout crowd at Gill Coliseum.
It was packed. And on the contrary, though, we did take a very tough home loss to Stanford. To be honest, Stanford played like the nerds they are, with some extremely smart ball movement and very limited turnovers. So, what are you going to do?
Classic nerds. Classic nerds down there in Palo Alto. But, however, we did have a great game against the Cal Golden Bears. Cal has some really high-key freshmen there, Jaylen Brown and Ivan Rabb. And GP2 in this game nearly pulled off a triple-double.
Yeah, in my opinion, this is honestly one of the hardest games that OSU has fought all season. Almost every single player that touched the court contributed to that win. So.
Yeah, and Gill Coliseum that night felt like a Staples Center with so many celebs in the house.
Yeah.
We had Alan Crabb, Neil Olshey, Bill Walton, Gary Payton Sr., and the president.
Of course.
Was in there too.
And not to mention, we did have about half a dozen NBA scouts there to watch the young team ball out. So overall, it's just a great night for Beaver basketball.
Yeah, and afterwards, Coach Tinkle had to talk about the victory.
Guys, that's a big-time win. After our performance the other night, our guys really responded well. Our leaders led. It started with film on Thursday, quite a long session, about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Then in practice yesterday, and we carried it over. And this wasn't a thing of beauty. When we shoot 43%, let them shoot 65% in the second half and still win, tells us a lot. We found a way. But on the flip side, we know we can get better. But we're going to enjoy this. Cal is as talented a team offensively and has been one of the top defensive teams in the league. So for our guys to respond this way was incredible.
And yeah, so last night also, the Bees played UCLA, and it was almost a game that the Beavs can kind of sweep under the rug.
Agreed. The Beavs did end up losing 82-73 with UCLA guard Isaac Hamilton scoring 25 points. GP2 did all he could dealing with the foul trouble that he was in. He did finish with 17 points and 7 assists.
And both teams just really needed that win badly, and ultimately UCLA wanted it more. So we just have to make those adjustments for the game versus a red-hot USC team that's leading the Pac-12 on Sunday. Noon game.
Yep. And before we head to break, we do have to address what's been on everyone's mind, what everyone's been talking about, and that would be the Jarmal Reid trip incident.
Yeah, for those who don't know, against Utah, late in the game, Jarmal Reid stuck his leg out and purposely tripped Pac-12 ref Tommy Nunez.
He went down.
Creating a huge controversy, and this swept social media.
It vines everywhere. Honestly, this controversy did end up in a minimum of a 4-game suspension for Jarmal, and it's extremely unfortunate what happened, but it's over. Gotta move on.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's controversy. We know, but Jarmal's a great guy. Jarmal, he's a great guy. Some of us know him here, and it's unfortunate that the public's perception of Jarmal and the team is influenced by this incident.
Basically, all we can do now is move forward. What's done is done. Jarmal will be eligible to return to play, barring on his behavior within the next week against Utah, ironically. So.
Yep. So coming up next, we have a sit-down with women's basketball insider for the Barometer, Brenden Slaughter. Stay tuned.
Some love.
Alex Holland.
Lisa Rosenthal. We're here to answer any questions, escort students around.
We really just give them this sense of tradition. We help them register for classes.
A big part of being a START leader is showing students around OSU and helping them get a feel for what it's like when they're here at Oregon State.
We serve to help them make a more smooth and positive transition from high school life to college life and to everything involved with it.
We tell the stories of the exceptional students and staff who attend the university, who work here, and who play here.
We have the Barometer where you can write stories for them, become a journalist. We have Beaver News. We have all kinds of different shows for TV.
We're so willing to talk to anybody that is interested in becoming involved with student media. So if you're on the fence thinking, I don't know if I can do this, the answer is yes, you can. Get over here and talk to us.
Oh yeah, I got this.
Hi, my name's TT.
Some love.
Alex Holland.
Lisa Rosenthal. We're here to answer any questions.
We tell the stories of the exceptional students and staff who attend the university, who work here, and who play here.
We have the Barometer where you can write stories for them, become a journalist. We have Beaver News. We have all kinds of different shows for TV.
We're so willing to talk to anybody that is interested in becoming involved with student media. So if you're on the fence thinking, I don't know if I can do this, the answer is yes, you can. Get over here and talk to us.
Welcome back, Beaver Nation. We have a special guest with us here, Brenden Slaughter, to talk some Lady Hoops. How you doing, Brenden?
Good. It's a pleasure to be here, guys. Appreciate you having me on. And glad I can offer my insight on the Oregon State women's basketball team.
Yeah, Brenden, you making your KBVR TV debut.
Big time.
Absolutely. I'm stoked. It's going to be a great experience.
Brenden, can you just talk about real quick what you do with Orange Media Network here?
Yeah, so for Orange Media Network, I'm the sports director for KBVR-FM, and then I'm also the play-by-play and color voice for KBVR as well, working alongside Josh Warden. And I'm also a senior reporter for the Daily Barometer, covering Oregon State women's basketball, hence why I'm here. And
why you're here?
I know a lot about the Lady Beavs and their rise to success so far this season.
Man, that's what we got you on. Inside scoop. So, all right, Brenden, what have you seen out of the women's team this year?
Yeah, they've played with a never say die attitude so far, guys. They've had a couple games where they've lost. Tennessee particularly, Notre Dame, some real losses that just kind of almost strike you in the heart a little bit. But nevertheless, the Beavs, however, have responded from those losses in a very positive way. They got a big win against Stanford, as we'll touch on later in this interview. swept the Ducks. You know, they've strung together some good victories, and with arguably their best player, Sidney Weiss, still out with injuries. So
yeah, we'll get to that as well.
So
too.
this team is they've been able to handle a lot of adversity. I think that's the thing that impressed me the most is their ability to handle adversity and still play with that competitive spirit.
So going off of what you just mentioned, we had a huge win against Stanford the other night. The Beavs made a giant comeback, and as you said, it's the first win against the Beavs versus Stanford since 2001.
2001, guys. Yeah, way to go, Jake. No, it's something that doesn't happen very often.
No.
Stanford is up there with UConn and Baylor, and it's, you know, some of the best women's
powerhouses.
You know, they are the team.
They're making the Final Four like almost every year.
Yeah, they're the bar. Scott
Yes.
Rueck said they're the team you want to beat when you come in, and they finally got over the hump with Scott Rueck here, and it was looking pretty doubtful. You know, when I was calling that game on Sunday, I was, you know, doubt was creeping my mind, but Oregon State did the best they could. They switched up to a zone defense, which was very important. They kept Stanford off balance. Then they switched, and they also did a lot more inside game. They worked the ball around the outside, found Devin Hunter, stretch four, was able to space out the floor pretty well. And then, you know, like I said, they just stifled Stanford. They outscored them by almost, I think it was 22, 23 points in the fourth quarter, and, you know, ended up running away with the game. So, you know, they did a really good job.
Yeah, and you mentioned that Sidney Weiss, you know, she's been out for a couple weeks now. And so how have the Bees been able to play so well without her?
Well, you know, if you look at the schedule, Logan, at first they weren't playing so well. When Sidney Weiss first went out, we put in freshman guard Katie McWilliams, a 6'2" freshman, like I said, from South Salem High School.
Yeah, that game against UCLA.
Katie McWilliams, you know, she did all right to start, but then once Pac-12 play rolled around, you know, UCLA did a lot of full court pressure, and McWilliams turned the ball over 7 times. That's been the low point in her college debut so far, but since that game, she's really developed as a point guard for Oregon State, got them on a little bit of a win streak right now, and has set up the offense well, but make no mistake, when Sidney Weiss is healthy, she's still Oregon State's starting point guard, and maybe the best starting point guard in the Pac-12, and the Beavers are an elite team, top 5 in the country, I think, if Sidney Weiss is in that lineup.
Yeah. And so what other contributors besides Katie McWilliams, you said as well? Like what other players has come onto the team that's made a huge impact?
That's very true. You know, like I said, coming this season, everyone knew Ruth Hamblin. You know, senior center, Pac-12 offensive and defensive player of the year last year. Not very many people accomplished that. Yeah. Senior guard Jamie Wisner. But the 2 biggest people that are in the starting lineup right now that have really stood out to me was junior guard Gabby Hansen has come on really hot this season. Had 20-some points against Cal, played very, very well. Her ability to also play the role of point guard has done very well for this team, too. And then, however, against Stanford, Devin Hunter really changed the game for the Beavers. She went, I believe it was 5 for 7 from the 3-point line as a 4. She really stretched the floor at that stretch 4 position. And Scott Rueck said took Stanford out of their comfort zone, was able to, you know, knock down the open shots. She's probably been the most impressive. And, you know, she's seen it this year as well. And she said, we just weren't going to lose to Stanford, and kind of carried with that same never say die attitude I talked about earlier.
So, Brenden, I know it's a little early in the season, but at the same time, it's never too early to think about these things.
Oh, no, never.
Where do you see this Beaver squad ending up in the Pac-12, let alone NCAA tournament?
Yeah, you know, I'm seeing as Pac-12, again, big marquee game coming up, February 1st, 8 p.m., Oregon State, Arizona State. This is going to be probably their biggest game of the year that's not Stanford. Arizona State right now is undefeated, number 8, and they're looking spectacular. And they look like they might even upset OSU this year. So with that, I don't see the Beavers finishing any lower than second. I'd say first or second going into the conference tournament. But, man, Arizona State's on a roll. That's going to be a great game, and it's going to take everything Oregon State has to get that victory. And then NCAA tournament-wise, you know, I believe it's the top 8 seeds host the first and second round in Gill College or in your home arena in women's basketball.
Because we had that last year, but
Oregon State lost to Gonzaga. So I believe they'll get those first 2 games at Gill again, but the outcome will not be in question this year. Oregon State is just too fired up right now, and that Gonzaga game still sticks back in their mind. These seniors want to finish off well. I really wouldn't be surprised if Oregon State made a run to probably the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 at the very least. This team is for real.
And that'd be huge just for a program for women's basketball. And our athletic program too. So that's going to be huge. Have you talked to Scott Rudick any time too? And has he said any inside stuff that you might know of?
Absolutely. Like I said, I sit down with Scott Rudick once a week. During his media availability, and Scott Rudick has just said pretty much what you'd expect him to say. The Stanford win hasn't set in yet. Still pretty special, even though coming into this week when they have the mountain schools, and he said that he is going to have a good problem to have when Sydney Weiss comes back, because he's got to figure out how to switch that lineup to get her back in with how well they've won. So he said it's a good problem to have, but then at the same token, he also said he was going to tell Devin Hunter to keep shooting threes. So Scott Rudick is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's a terrific coach, and you see where he's brought this program from where it was when he
Tremendous leaps.
Yeah. It's exponential, what the job he's done. Yeah. So Scott Rudick's one of the best. Oregon State will always be an elite program as long as he's at the helm. And like I said, if you ever get a chance to sit down and talk to him, he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet too. So it's a really good situation for Oregon State right now.
Good. All right. Well, Brenden, thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Always good having you. Hopefully
pleasure,
have more
man.
in the future. And look for Brendan's articles in the Daily Barometer and listen to his play-by-play on 88.7 KBVR-FM. And, well, for the Beaver News and for the Beaver Sports Show, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning in once again. For Jake, Brenden, I'm Logan McGinnis.
Go Beavs and good night. Peace.